Hello there. Hi. Say hi, everybody. Hi. Hi. Oh, you just want to sit here and purr. Yeah, you just want to be pet and love. Oh, you want down? Is that why you're staring at the ground? Say bye, everybody. Yep. Hello, everybody. I'm Tiffany. Welcome to my quilting life. Thursday is today, the first Thursday of the month. We are going to have some breakfast. I don't know what to call a charm pack. Let's see. What's a charm pack for breakfast? I don't know. I don't know what to call a charm pack for breakfast. I don't have a word for that one. I guess we can call it ham. 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 We're going to have ham. Breakfast ham sandwiches. Yep, see, here's the sandwich. Ready? Anyways, so let's see who is all here. Oops. Hello. Why are you not working all of a sudden? Nope. I got it. Nope, I got it. All right, we have Robin, Tammy, Geraldine, Dawn, Lori, Diane, Rose, Tracy, Cynthia, Polly, Kay, Zarina, Vicky, Eva, Linda, Tracy, M, because I mess up that one all the time, and so many more. Hello, everybody, and good morning. So today I'm going to go ahead and start a new project that I should hopefully finish in one video because, you know, I try to consolidate and make things that I can make in one video kind of thing. So today's project is going to need one charm pack and about a yard, even though this is more than a yard, of two different prints. I have a background fabric that's Wilmington prints, Essentials Wilmington prints. So it's kind of like circly dot swirls. And then the charm pack is, I forgot to say that, it's Garden Club Favorites from Brenda Ratliff. It's exclusively picked from Missouri Star Quilt Company. So it's RJR Fabrics, aha. So it was put together though by MSQC, Missouri Star Quilt Company. And then I have this Moda Fabric Basic Origins is what it is. And it's a flower print for my border. So I have my border, my background, or the on point triangle parts, but I'm going to make it work differently. And then I have my charm pack, and a charm pack is only 42 pieces. So I'm going to show you how, even though I'm using a charm pack, where you can take not only charm packs, but you can take your blocks. This is a chart-free instruction to making your quilt on point. And when I say on point, it's not just hooking squares together in rows like this. It would be like this, on point, point to point. So we're going to be putting a quilt together like this, and I'm going to show you my method, which is the chart-free method, to make your set-in triangles and your corner setting triangles without having to have a chart. You just need your blocks and your rotary cutting mat so that you can get the general idea of math part for that. It's very simple to do. And once you guys learn how to do this, you're going to be like, oh my God, I could turn every quilt I want on point. So we're going to work on that. The first thing I'm going to do is open my charm pack. Ready? Oh, look, it's open. It's just a bunch of little flowers and just a bunch of different colors. It's random. So is my background and my regular squares. Did you finish your last breakfast at Tiffany project? I don't even know what I did last breakfast at Tiffany's. The pink thing. The pink thing. Oh yes, I did finish that. I can show my last breakfast at Tiffany's project real quick. Sure it was this? Was it this? I'm pretty sure it was this. This was my last breakfast at Tiffany's project. Was my triangles, I think. I don't always remember what I do in my videos. So that was that. I was going to find a border for it, and then I went into my fabric room and I was digging and digging and digging. I was in there for like 2 hours and said, nope, I can't find anything. So I'm just going to probably leave that without a border on it and just quilt it as is.
So 14 was we will open 2 jelly rolls like this, so strips together and create strip sets. And so
Oh, that was
use my strip tube ruler, make some diagonal strip sets.
strip tube ruler. What did I use? I don't even know what I made. It's somewhere. So I don't know. Anyway, all right. So we're going to start with our background fabric, and I'm only doing this to mix into my charm pack purposely. I'm going to purposely cut from my background fabric and my border fabric so that way I can blend these two fabrics into the quilt and it'll look cool. So I'm going to have more than 42 squares. So I'm going to go ahead and straighten this out and then I'm going to cut.
The pink thing was a Sew Sunday.
Oh, okay. It's somewhere in the closet, jelly roll strips. What did I make? I don't know what I made or where it is. Could be in the other room. I don't know. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and start by, just because I'm adding to my charm squares, I'm going to cut a 5-inch strip and then subcut some 5-inch squares to blend into it. And I'm going to do the same thing off of my border fabric. That way I can blend it into the fabrics, you know, because these don't go together. So, you know, to make your projects go together with the different fabrics, it's best to just pull from the fabrics that you're using as your border and blend it into the quilt somehow. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this nice and straight. There. Oh, nope. There, and then cut a 5-inch strip off of this one as well, and then subcut these to 5-inch squares to go with my charm pack. And then I'm going to put it on the wall in an organized fashion and show you how to get your on point numbers without a chart. All right, let me subcut this into 5-inch squares. And this one, just stacking them on top of each other. I'll cut the selvage off of both at the same time. And cut 5-inch squares. And I don't want this fold in there because I did not iron. Let's get rid of that. Turn it back this way again and cut some more. That'll give me 8 5-inch squares from each one of these so that I can mix them in. All right. Go there, I can go there. All right, so now I can blend all those colors together. Now I'm going to show you how to get the number that you need for your on pointness. And when I mean on point, I'm just going to lay these pieces out as if they were on point. Just like this, so that you can see, and we're going to turn the camera down. Can you lift it and turn it down facing the mat, please? Can you see all this really good? Okay, so this would be on point. When a block is in front of you like this, point to point, point to point, this way. So instead of everything being this way, it's on point, which is that way, okay? So to get the number you need for your setting triangles, which if you had all of your pieces, we're just gonna grab these just because they're right here to use them. I have no idea. It's in there somewhere in the closet. All right, so you would need to figure out how to get, put that there and put that there. How to get your number that goes in your corner right here and in all these V sections, okay? So we're gonna figure out that number for charm squares, but this works for any size square. No, I don't either. It's probably in the other room. looking for something because it's not there. I don't see it in the closet at all.
I tried.
Okay. Well, let's get to this. So the easiest thing for me to figure out this number is to take the point to the point and put it on a line on my mat. So I have it right here on the line. Then I'm going to take this one and put it on a line on my mat right here. And you can see they're kind of hanging over almost 1/4 of an inch. It should be touching. I'll get them to touch right there and right there, touching the point, touching the point. So if you had a block with your pieced block, just put it on point, touch the point to a point and the point to a point, and then put the 2 corners together. This is the magic where you don't need a chart to figure this out. You have from this point to this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches, right? Now add an inch to that. That's 8 inches, right? So you'll need an 8-inch piece cut 4 times, twice on the diagonal. And I'll show you that because we're going to cut an 8-inch strip because that's how I figured out my number. I need 8 inches. So let's cut an 8-inch strip off of here because this is going to be my set in triangles. I cut an 8-inch strip and then subcut it to 8-inch squares. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8. I always add an inch because you're losing a 1/2 inch and you still want your 1/2 inch so you don't lose your points on the edge. So here's my 8-inch strip. Move that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and open it and subcut. Screw it, I can do it this way too. While it's in half. Subcut some 8-inch squares off of it. And these are going to make us have straight of grain on the on the outside edge. So it'll be nice and easy to manage. All right, there's 8. Just going to toss that over there, that back there. Now I'm going to cut it on the diagonal, both directions. Both directions. So 1. And 2. Okay. So now, if you took your 2 pieces like this, you said you needed an 8-inch. Just gonna line those back up on a line. Now you have your set in triangle right here. And when you lose your 1/4 inch here, you'll still have your 1/4 inch out here and not lose your point. Look at that. So that's the side setting triangles with the straight of grain because it was the outside of the 8-inch square when it's together like this. This is the outside of the square, which is the non-stretchy side. So that will give you a nice square quilt. Now, for the corner setting triangle, so this would go here, just showing you that would be there. And then the corners, we're going to cut some corners real quick. The corners is the same kind of deal. You know that this is 5 inches, right? So add an inch to it. Just add 1 more inch. So 6 inches. You only need 2 6-inch squares for this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a 6-inch square. I'm going to cut 2 6-inch squares off of here, but a 6-inch strip. This one's very easy to do. And again, this formula works for anything. So there's 1 6-inch strip. And I'm going to now subcut it into 2 6-inch squares for my 4 corners. Turn it on a line. Because I only need 4 of these. The other way, I don't know how many I need because I don't know how my layout's going to be just yet. But I wanted to show you the formula first of how to do this. So now I have 2 6-inch squares. I'm going to cut them on the diagonal 1 time, just once. And there will be that corner, and they'll be oversized. You can probably do a 1/2 inch shorter if you wanted, but I always make them oversized so that I can square them off. But this side is straight of grain, and this side is straight of grain. So when you put the whole thing together, it's straight of grain around the whole entire edge or perimeter of your quilt. Make sense? So if you had 8-inch squares, you would, let's just move all these out of the way so that we know. That was from my, yeah, that's from that pile. I don't want to mix these up. That's the smaller one. Where's the bigger one? That one. Okay, those stay together. The rest of these don't. So if you had an 8-inch square or bigger, let's see if I can do this right here. Say this was one giant square. Let's try to make this 8 inches, just because. Right here. We're gonna pretend. I like pretending. So here's an 8-inch block. We're going to put that point to point, just like this. I'm going to make another one just because we're pretending here.
Do you starch your fabric?
I do not starch my fabric. I don't wash my fabric. I just use it. I'll just use it. Use the fabric up. All right. So we're just going to say you have an 8-inch square. Here's my 2 pretend 8-inch squares. This is how you're going to get your 8-inch square number. You're going to line that up point to point. Right here, point to point. Come on. I'm on this line right there. Trying to do this and be on the lines. Right. Here, I have a half mark between the 2 on these. So it's on a half here and it's on a whole here. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and a half, plus 1 inches, plus 1 inch. That's 12 and a half. So a 12 and a half inch square cut on the diagonal twice would give you your piece that fits, you know, in this section right here. I don't even know how to do that with these, but it'll give you your giant piece that goes right here. We're going to pretend that's one piece. Okay. So for the 8-inch squares, like I said, you can mark it on the half to half, or it'll land on a hole as long as you touch your 2 tips and it's touching the top and bottom on the same, just by using your cutting mat for your numbers. See how easy that is? Super genius, right? This is how I do all on-point quilts. So again,
All your fans are impressed.
yes, I do this all the time. I don't need no charts. I just measure that way. So everything you've ever seen me do on point, it's always like that. I always just add 1 inch to the number that is in between those 2 points. It makes it so much easier and things go so much faster and I don't have to look up online, oh, how many blah, 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 this. And it's just easy for me. All right, now, those are my corners. That stays there. I'm going to have Scott put it back to face the wall and we're going to lay a quilt out on the wall with all of our pieces. Because I don't know how big it's going to be or anything like that at this point. I just know that I want that in the center. And then I want 4 of these around it. Because I think it will look cool. And I'm not even sure if we're, you know, on the perfect point here. Oops, that's that color. Let's do here and here. And then we're going to fill around with my charm pack. Why? Because I can. So I'm just going to start laying them out in a desired layout and have fun with it. There's probably 2 of each color here too, so I could have fun while I'm placing things. I guess I'm doing all the greens first. I'm gonna move. Oh, that's a single. I'm gonna start putting some yellows in here. Actually, we'll put this one in the opposite corner up here. But I'm gonna put this off that side because it's so close. That side. I don't know how many across and how many down because I added to it. Put pink there, pink there, pink here, This is how I design, by the way, my friends. I just start doing this. And have fun with it. All right, hold on. I want to add some more of these in. So we're going to put this guy here. This one right here. That way I'm blended in. Put that there. And this up there. Now I'm going to stop at that height and start going to the sides. All right. That this way. And I'm going to stand for this. That right here. We're going to start going sideways with these. And then I'll put my on point things that I created with it. Here. There. We'll add 2 more of these because we're trying to spread these out. That way it matches the border. Which way was it? This way? I don't know. I don't know what edge I'm on. It's not next to the yellow. It's on top of it right here. Okay. I don't know. I'm just laying them out. There. And we're going to start going down next to that pink. That one next to that pink. I have no idea why, but this one is there. There we go. That's better. There, and then this is the end right here. I'm going to start going this way. There. And this one here next to that yellow. Stop it here. And I have no idea where I was. I guess right here. No. On the gray. Next to that. There. I have no idea. I'm going this way. I'm already lost. Let's go right. And this one. On this one. Stopping it almost to the edge. We'll move things around. Move that one. Put it here. Put that there for a second. Throw some more of these in. I don't want them on the edge. There. I know this shouldn't be so complicated, right? I'm spending more time trying to lay this out. We're gonna. Hold on. Gotta think about what I'm doing here. This one's gonna be not on that side. Let's put it. Moving them around. Move them around. Can't be there. Not there. Let's put that here and that here. There we go. One on that edge. Put this right here. This one here instead. Yeah, I need it there. Because it has to end with 1. And I'll still have to adjust real quick. I don't want that one there, or that one there, or that one there, or those. Okay, I got to move them around now. Let's make this work. That. And there's going to be close to that. Okay. There. There. One. This right here. And this right here. Nope, can't do that there. But that there. All right, let's swap 2 out. Let's see, 1 on each edge, corner. That's totally off-centered now. Oh well, I'm leaving it. Let's put this dark guy up here instead, and this pink one right here instead. Like I said, I'm just adding to my charm pack so that it looks cute. We'll replace this guy right here. Place this one right here. Put this one here. Oh, what else should I move? I have 2 more that I can move around. 2 more to move around. 2 more. What do we got? Guess I can just pull that out of there and put this here. And 1 more. Let's see. What can I pull? Yeah. I kind of just want those to stay like that, even though everything's now all mixed up. I'm gonna put this last one. I'll just take that out and only have the center ones. How about that? Oh no, because there's one right here. All right, let's put my whatchamacallits around it. I probably might need to cut 1 more. Yeah, it's offset. I don't care. I'm leaving it. I'm tired of messing around. So all these go around the edge. Like this. This is just, have fun with it. And it does not have to be anything spectacular. Just have fun, make it your own. Ooh, I may have just enough with these pieces, huh? That way I don't have to cut any more. We'll see right now. No, I need to cut 1 more. 1 more 8-inch square. Or 8, was it 8.5 or 8? I don't remember. What was it? Does anybody remember? No? I'll look at 1 more time. I just need 1 more. That's how I do it. 1 more time real quick. I'm just going to find my number because I already forgot. That's the only part about me. I forget things so easily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, it was an 8-inch square. I just need 1 more 8-inch square for this. 5, 6, 7, 8. Online. It's online. There. And there. Open it up. Yep. I figured it out just by laying my pieces out again. It's best if you're doing this, write the number down so that so that you can remember. 6, 7, 8. There. Get that out of the way. Cut it on the diagonal 2 times. And I only need 2, right? Yep, 2. 1 and 2, right there. So that will be my quilt. And then these are my 4 corners that are oversized. I do that on purpose because I want them oversized. Because I always trim the edge of my quilt to make it straight. All right, now to show you how to put it together on point. So there's the quilt. That's what it's going to be. Let's look. Yep, that's the whole charm pack plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra pieces. Yeah, 7 extra pieces. I don't see any more. Yeah. All right. For on point, can they see up here really good? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. For on point, here is row 1 right here. That's row 1. Super easy, right? Row 2 is this piece, and this piece. So you sew this to this and this to that, and then it's nice and straight, and you cut off the ends before you attach the corner. Then your next row is this one. Oh, that was backwards. That one, this, and that. That's 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, 4 row, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that's the 12th. So let's start piecing this so that you can see how easy this is. I'm going to take my first row. I'm just going to stand even though I don't want to, but I'm going to because I'm just going to be back and forth to this wall anyway. Make sure this is on the right stitch length. And I'm just going to press them towards my charm squares. So I'm going to add this one and then this side. And we're going to press towards, yeah, one's going to go this way, one's going to go out. All right, so I have this whole row pressed to the left. Okay, that's going to go up there. Then I'm going to do this row all to the right. I'm just going to take these 2 end pieces, line that corner up. It's going to stick out a lot right here. Okay, as long as your bottom corner is lined up. Just going to line that up. Sew that on, and all these are going to be pressed to the right. I'm just going to grab and sew. Huh? Did I start with what?
The third row, not the second.
First, second, third row.
Did you already do the second one?
Yes, it's all together. So I'm pressing all these to the right. Just going to add this guy. Keep sewing them until this row is complete. And then add this end. Again, I'm lining these ends up like this. So you'll always have a hangover. You're just lining up that end square with the corner here that you have a hangover. And that hangover is good. Again, this is to the right. Okay, so this row is now ready and complete. Now we're going to sew this row again, just right sides together. I'm going to sew right here. It's square. Everything stays square with this line. Everything else hangs over that top. I'm just going to go ahead, put this on, and these ones are going to go to the left. This is very, very easy to do. The bigger the quilt, though, the more space you need to lay it out so that you can make sure that you're not, getting things all discombobulated when you go to attach the rows together. But it's fairly easy to see what you're doing once you get started. out a bobbin. It's a good thing I roll bobbins before I start.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, I always roll bobbins before I start projects. And I roll more than I probably need for a project. This project's probably only going to go through like 2 full bobbins, maybe. Oops, I got tangled. I tangled myself right here. There we go. All right. Which way was I pressing this? To the left. All right, then I'm going to grab this end, put it on here, like this. Okay, and this one is to the left. And then we're going to put it back on the wall. So the next row will get pressed towards the right, and I'm going to tie my hair up because I'm already getting hot. Yep, I brought a hair clip in. All right, next row. Right sides together. So these were right. We're pressing to the right. This. Next.
Is there a reason you use half square triangles for the set in triangles instead of quarter square triangles? I always thought it was best to keep a bias off the edge of the quilt.
No, this is straight of grain. This is bias. So the corner ones, that inside from being a half square triangle is the bias. You want that to sit against the quilt so that your straight of grain, the non-stretchy sides, are on the outside corners. That's why I use half square triangles, and then these are quarter square triangles. You want the straight of grain all the way around, or else you're going to have a very stretchy quilt. And you don't want a very stretchy quilt. You want a nice, flat, square quilt when it's all done. So setting triangles are always quarter square triangles to make those, and then your 4 corners are always half square triangles. That way you always have straight of grain around the whole quilt. Okay, right. There. I hope I'm making this easy to understand. Which way are these? Right? Because these ones are left. Yep. Okay. I always make sure that I'm pressing them the correct direction because I always mess myself up. So I double check 500 times.
Your square and square that's square centered, that was on purpose, right?
Yeah, I'm just messing around, having fun, making something different. All right. So that's all ready. Now, this row right here is now my first center row, and this is going to be my second center row. So these ends right here, we're not going to attach, but I will sew this whole row together the same as the rest, pressing it to the left, and then sew this row without this piece, pressing to the right, and it'll end with my quarter square triangle at the end of both of these. So I'm going to sew them the exact same. I'm just not putting on my corner yet until my rows are all sewn together. So these ones are now going to be pressed to the left. Yeah, it's right there in front of your face. I said it when I first started the video.
I know, but I want to see it.
It's right here. It's called Essentials Wilmington Prints. It won't focus on it because I'm here in the way.
Well, I tried.
Yeah, it's Essentials by Wilmington Prints. It's probably something that's out of print. But you never know because it's called Essentials, so maybe it's something they still make. And the flower yellow one is a Moda print.
I tried.
And the charm pack is a RJR Fabrics called Garden Club Favorites, but Missouri Star Quilt Company is the one that curated it. So yep. 3 more to add to this row. The whole point of today's project is to show how easy and a non-chart formula for turning any quilt on point for those that are joining. So if this was blocks, it goes the same way if you were just making blocks. And I always just estimate my yardage. So I don't have an exact number for every single quilt that you make, but like I said, this is very simple to do. You just lay your quilt out, and that's how you'll judge how many outside squares you'll need. And remember, every 4 of these is 1 square. So that's how you'll judge. All right, this row goes to the right. Come on. I'm just going to sew that back because see how easy this is to go together. So you can definitely make a little baby quilt in a day if you have someone in your family that's expecting and they said, oh, we're having a baby shower last moment. This is something you can do. Make a little quilt out of a charm pack and less than 1 yard of 2 different prints because I'm using my second print as my border when I get to it, and I still don't even need a yard for that. My squares are 5 inches. Yeah, they're 5-inch squares. Charm squares. Came unthreaded. In the hole I can't see. Right there.
Handy dandy little hummingbird don't like you when you're online.
No, it's because I have the shake, so it makes everything harder.
I can help you.
Right. Now it's facing the bottom. If you watch how you put your pieces on, the last set of these, my square, when I attached my triangle to it, it landed with this piece on the bottom. Now it's not. Now it is flush with this row, because if you stick this in here, you'll realize, I have no idea where it goes. There we go. Once that is where it goes the opposite direction now. So you'll notice all these are going to have it on the bottom. So now the top flushes on these and the hangover will be on the bottom, because you want the straight edge to line up. So now it's on the opposite side, because we've passed our center 2 rows.
Would this be considered a lap size quilt?
This will be considered a baby quilt. So now I'm pressing to I'm on this side. So now we're going to the left, right? These are to the left. Got to make sure one more time. Yep, that's left. This piece. Notice I haven't even gone to the iron yet. There's no sense in it yet, because everything's getting finger pressed. It's nice and flat. If you are working with actual blocks, I would press with an actual iron. But I am working with squares. Straight top. And left. All right, put it back on the wall. Here. Just a few more rows. This row will be pressed to the right. And it happened again. What influenced me to start my own channel? Well, like I've said before in previous videos, I was bored. I realized that you can go live on YouTube. I wanted to make friends, and that's when I started doing live streams. I did make a video and post it, and I had videos on my channel for family, years of, the videos of my children growing up that my family could watch. And I made a video about making over my wheelchair, and that kind of set it for me. This is to the right. I said, wow, people actually watch this? So I started going on live, because it said, oh, you can go live. I can live chat with people in the middle of the night. And that's what I would do out in my garage, making friends in the middle of the night. If Diane is still here, Diane 57 on here, she used to be my #1 in the middle of the night and hang out with me and chat. And then Teresa McBrayer would come on when she found me too. And yeah, it just started a whole thing, and that's when I said, wow, if people are going to watch these, I'm going to start actually teaching instead of just chatting. So that's when I started just teaching what I know how to do. And at first it was very horrible quality videos. And there's still room for improvement for the next couple of years, you know, little by little. Things get better. But yeah, I was just inspired by people actually wanting to watch. Sorry, I take off too fast and it knocks my thing out, my thread out of the thing, out of the needle hole. And I struggle with threading, so because
You
of
want me
my
to come do it?
nope. I just need to start keeping the longer tail. Which way am I going? Right. Oh, this. All right, and that's to the right. So let's put that right here. Last few rows. Then we can start putting the rows together. All right, this will be left. Meow. Meow. Even starting off slow, it unthreads. Today is just not a happy day because I'm standing is why probably. And I'm not blocking the fan from hitting my machine, knocking my thread out or something. I don't know. It's one of those days. We're just going to do the pull away method. All right. I have no idea which way I'm going. Thumper's coming to say hi again for those that missed the beginning and are just coming in.
He says, I will not stop now in a day. Because I turned 12 the other day and I want attention now.
He turned 12 the other day and he wants attention, is what Scott's saying if you can't hear him. Okay, I'm gonna just throw my machine. I swear. I had the long tail even and it still came out unthreaded. Probably time to change my needle maybe. I just did that last week though, or the week before. I don't know. Long, huge, long tail. If this thread comes out, I'm gonna be mad. I hate these long tails though, because you have to go through and cut them or else they end up in seams. All right, that's to the left. All right, two more, well, technically one more row to sew. All right, this was right because that went left. And this is right. All right. Now, here is our our sewn rows. Now we just need to assemble. So I'm going to start with this bottom one because it's literally right here in front of my face. These two ends, I go ahead now, and I'm going to just line my ruler up with the edge and cut those off so now it's nice and square. I'm going to go ahead and take this end piece, and I'm just going to center it on here. If you need to find the center, it's oversized. It's bigger than it needs to be because I always square my quilt tops up. So I'm going to find my center by just lining them up, pinching down on it and then putting those two little creases I made on top of each other. So again, it's plenty oversized. I did that on purpose. If you don't want it to be that much oversized, then you can go ahead and cut your, instead of 1 inch bigger than it needs to be, you can just do a 1/2 inch bigger. But I purposely do this because I want it bigger than until I trim it. No, the thread cannot get caught behind a take-up lever. I don't know. It's through lots of guides. All right, so now that's sewn together. So this now goes to this, and we're going to match this seam up right here. This and this side is going to hang over. So I'm going to go ahead and nest these seams. They're in opposite directions. I'm always going to have a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of a hangover over here on this side. And I forgot to trim those edges off, but you don't have to right away. I'm, just sewing it. I'll trim those dog ears off in 2 seconds. I just did this in advance because Scott asked a question and it distracted me. So I'll go ahead now and just trim those little corners off real quick. Because I could have done it a minute ago, but I didn't. All right, I'm just going to press it away from, just like this. And now I have a corner. It does look kind of silly, but when I go to square this up, trust me, it'll be nice. It'll be nice. Okay, so now this goes on top of this. Again, it's going to hang over. What's going to touch is your blocks. So you can see it hangs over the sides. Your blocks are what's touching. I'm going to go ahead and trim these little things off real quick though, because I'm literally right here now, so I might as well do it. I'm only lining up my blocks. I'm going to line up my blocks. It's hanging over on the edge. Everything is in opposite directions, so it should nest right up. If my foot pedal would stop going everywhere but here. Just nesting my seams as I go, because I consider myself a lazy quilter and I really don't care, so I just don't use pins. If I was trying to do a project for like a show or something, I probably would, but this is just for fun. So I'm going to go ahead now and finger press this out. I'm going to show you guys what I was talking about in the beginning. If you look, I have a 1/2 inch from that point out. That is a good thing, because when you go to square your top, you can line it up a 1/4 inch away or leave it 1/2 inch away, because that way it's floating. That is why I do the inch bigger. Okay, and you can see it's nice and square here, but when I go to trim this, that's when I'll get that perfectly square. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the ends of this and then put these together. I'm just going to use scissors because I'm literally right here with the scissors. And it's just easy. All right. It goes like this on top of here. So it's going to hang over on the ends. I'm going to nest my blocks. I will have about a 1/4 inch hanging over on that edge. It works perfect because when you have blocks that have points at the edge and you're putting it on point, you won't lose any of the previous blocks pieces at that corner junction. You know, everything will stay really nice. And that's why I do this way. I mean, who really needs a chart for something this easy? This is very easy to do. You just have to remember how to get to this point by measuring on your table. Or you can use a ruler to measure in between them as long as they're laid out on point. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up off the floor before my cat tries to eat it. Oh, it's these little pieces. No, stay out of there. Go away. Nope. All right, just gonna finger press this back. This fabric is very nice. I think it has something already on it before they even trimmed them into charm squares. They laid all the fabric together or something with some kind of starchy type stuff on it. All right, so now I'm getting to my first end point, and you're gonna see here is an end without anything on it, okay? I'm gonna leave that off. I'm gonna match this with this one, match all of my pieces together, and then this one will end with that, but I don't need my end on just yet, as long as all of my pieces are together. I'm just nesting my seams, everything I pressed in opposite directions. The only difference is everything is now sideways when you piece it, so your hang off is going to be a little funky. So you just try to hold everything nice and straight. All of my pieces are nesting up beautifully, it feels like. And before I get to this end, I'm just going to chop it off with the scissor. Just like that. I'm going to finger press this out. And now, due to the fact that this part is getting kind of large, I'm literally going to leave it right here. I'm going to grab this next row. Again, this row is that one, the second one that doesn't have anything on the end. So I'm going to line the one that is on the end up with the edge of this square. So it'll have a little hangover because this is my corner square right here on this side. So I'm going to put those two together right here first. So have the little hangover.
Yeah, you want it hanging over.
Yeah,
right?
you want it hanging over. And it came unthreaded. I don't know what's wrong with today. Today just is not a sewing machine day. Everything is threaded properly. The Juki just does not want to be threaded today. All right, let's try that again. Get it to right there. I'm going to stop it in the seam and then adjust the whole thing. Again, it's kind of wonky because everything, I mean, you could obviously, what's the word for it? Pin it, you know, on the way before you do anything. But it's awkward now because it hangs funny down on your lap. It's at a point instead of at a square. Just nesting all my seams along the way. Since everything was exactly 5 inches and I have a consistent 1/4 inch seam, I shouldn't have any problems with my seams nesting up. Okay, and this one just ends. Remember, there's no anything on this end. Just goes right off the edge. But we're going to be hooking that other edge to it in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and finger press this one back. We're trying to save on the iron because it's really hot when it's on. So we're just doing the iron-free method right now until it's completed. You know. All right, I'm gonna again leave it right here. I'm gonna grab my next row. I'm gonna trim these off while I'm here, but they don't really need to be off till the next step, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm literally right here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead now. Oops, I forgot which way I just pulled this down. It was that way. So it goes this way. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead, right sides together. Again, this end has nothing on it, but I do want this piece, my background color or my set in triangle color, to be right there on that end, matching up with that so that I have my two little pieces because that's my other corner piece. So I'm going to go ahead now and straighten these up, nest my first seam, line everything up, and start stitching this on.
When was the last time you changed the needle?
I changed it like a week ago, maybe 2, if that. I changed the needle on the long arm and I changed the needle on this. So.
Oh yeah, tell me about your long arm now taking the needle.
Yeah, we switched out to titanium needles on my long arm, and my long arm does not like titanium needles apparently, because yeah, I'm now having frustration problems with the long arm with the titanium needles. I'm gonna have to figure out how to best fix the problem. It visually looks like it's over piercing my fabric. It's the same kind of needle. I mean, it's the same, tip, like, ballpoint and point, type needle. It's the same tip that I'm always been using, but the needle is just titanium instead. So I don't know why, but my long arm is not happy with it. Or at least the fabric that I'm quilting on is not happy with it. And I bought a 100-pack too. Because I use titanium on this, I don't have a problem. It doesn't look like it's over piercing the fabric or anything. So I have no idea why the long arm would look that way. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finger press this row. So you can see my end now on this side looks like that, and my end on this side looks like that. But it's on the opposite side. So 2 ends won't have anything on them at this point, because I already put my starter on that one. But again, all of this is still nice and straight. All right, next row, just leave that right there. I'm gonna put this here, right sides together. While I'm right here, before my cat sees what I'm doing, I'm gonna trim these off with the scissors because he's trying to steal them, the little cutoffs. He usually doesn't. It's kind of weird. He's being weird today, I guess. I guess if my sewing machine, see there, it almost came out of thread. press this back. It's getting small again on this edge. So it makes it very, very weird because this whole bottom section, the way I'm piecing it is, feels like it's crooked. When you're doing this, it starts feeling funny because it's sideways. All right, next row on top of here. And it hangs weird off of your table when it's sideways like this. And I can only imagine, because I've done it before, that having regular blocks, pieced blocks, they're a little bit heavier than me using charm squares. So just try to keep it as flat as you possibly can. And again, if you're not being lazy like me, you pin it, and it should be a little bit easier to control if your row is pinned on. End on here. Before I do anything, I'll go ahead and cut these two pieces off. Finger press. I'm going to make that whole corner and then attach it. So that last and final corner, I go ahead and piece it together. So I'm going to cut this end off of here, these two hanging dealies. Oops. There and right there. We're going to find the center by matching the two ends up, creating a little crease in the fabric. Find the center of my corner triangle. And then put those two centers together and sew it on. Again, it's oversized for a reason. I always oversize these corners so that I can square my quilts. Now I'm going to attach this on here. It's really easy because it's just that last piece. I'm just nesting the seams right here on the charm squares.
In the attic window, instead of making that 2 in white and gray square, could you have just snowballed the white strip instead?
Huh?
Could you have snowballed the white strip instead of doing the 2 white and gray?
No, you can't snowball it. Because how are you going to hook the block together if it's snowballed on the end? All right. I'm going to go ahead and press this. You can plug the iron in for me. We're going to... Fine. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and add my 2 final pieces on the end. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these 2 ends off right here. I'm going to grab my triangles because I need one for each side. I'm going to find my center, just using the whole quilt right here because it's all together except for this end. Lining it up, create my little center marking that I can see. Create a little center marking on this that I can see. Line up those 2 creases, hold it in place or pin it if you need, and sew this end on.
Did you sew 2 big sections of blocks together first and then join them in the center?
Nope, I just sewed them in rows. When I make big, huge quilts on point, I sew the bottom section of one side where those 2 final long seams are. I'll sew that whole bottom section and then the whole top section and then put the 2 sections together. I only do that on big quilts. With little quilts like this or anything that's lap size, I always do it in rows. I just keep adding the rows. That way I don't get confused. All right, I'm going to go over here to this end now. I'm going to trim these off. Is this our triangle? Yeah, it's the only triangle sitting here. find my center by lining those ends up, creating a little crease, lining the ends up, creating a crease, put the two creases together, and sew it on. Again, it's wonky. The whole quilt sits wonky. So like if you need to pin it, because it's, you know, everything's not laying flat until I make it flat on my the bed of my sewing machine. Right? I'm just going to press that back. And now this whole outer edge, if I yank on it, there's no stretch. That whole outer edge, no stretch. The blocks are stretching because they're on point, see? But the border itself, no stretch. So I'm going to go ahead and press this whole thing real quick, and I'll show you how to trim it. I'm just over at the iron real quick. Everything's been finger pressed, so the final press should be very, very easy to do. Another minute. I'm doing half at a time, doing one half, and then I'll rotate it and do the other half. Round. Side. This is just a little baby quilt, or you can make it into a wall hanging, whatever you want to do with your little quilts. That's all we're making here with a charm pack, some extra squares. I didn't even use 1 yard of my 2 prints, my background and my regular. All right, now just gonna move this all out of the way. And we're going to trim this quilt square. So can this table be seen good? All right, this is how this works. Here's my little quilt. We're going to start with a corner. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a square ruler for this.
Are you going to put a border on it?
Yes, I'm going to put border on it. 2, technically. I'm going to go ahead now, and remember, I oversized this for a reason. I'm going to line this up because this edge is pretty darn straight. But I'm going to go ahead and line it up 1/2 inch away from that point, and then 1/2 inch away from this point right here. I'm going to go ahead and make a cut here and a cut there, just like that. I don't need the big square anymore. I'm going to go ahead and just line this edge up 1/2 inch away, 1/2 inch away. I'm literally barely trimming off anything, as you can see. I just made 1 straight corner, 1/2 inch here, a 1/2 inch mark here. Remember, because it sticks out 1/2 inch bigger, and I prefer that. All right, we're at another corner. Go ahead, lay this on here. My ruler is a 1/2 inch here, and 1/2 inch mark there, and there. Let's cut the corner, nice and square. Oops. Just like that. Turn the whole thing. Go down this side now. All this is lined up. This is lined up. So all I have to do, square this, that, barely trimming anything off. I don't even need to use the corner here as long as this 1/2 inch mark is here and this 1/2 inch mark is here and this is straight. There, right there, right there. Here. I have no idea how seam rippers are sharpened. I just buy new ones. the new heads from my seam ripper. You actually want to know how to keep them sharp? Don't use them.
That's a good one.
Just put it in your head. I don't need a seam ripper. Just kidding, guys. Everybody needs a seam ripper, even me. You see it on live stream every now and then where I get frustrated and have to seam rip just like anybody else. Go ahead and just lay this on here, nice and square. There's my 1/2 inch mark right there. This is my last and final side. I'm just lining up this edge right here. I also have markings on the rulers, so whatever mark, like this ruler has 45-degree markings on it. Of course, this one doesn't line up as good as this one is. Right here on this corner. There, right there. Oh, I don't know why it didn't get rid of that. Or this. Time for a new blade soon, I guess. Oops.
How do you tell if your rotary cutter needs a new blade?
Technically, I just changed this blade. It's my mat. I have so many cuts in this mat that I think that's my problem the last couple videos worth, because I just changed it on a live stream with you guys. All right, now that's
so when
even.
the mat gets old, it has too many cuts in it?
When this mat gets old and has too many cuts in it, you're going to have skipped cuts. It's best to replace this. But if you're having to push really hard down with your blade, then it's your blade.
Why did you change rulers?
I changed rulers because I wanted the square for the corners and I wanted the straight ruler for along the edges. I struggle, my own personalness, on long straightaways when I do a corner like this and then have to take this square ruler and do the next and move it along. I prefer the long rulers instead. I mean, I even have giant squares. I could use those, but I find it easier to use these rulers instead. All right, so this is ready now for me to add borders. I'm going to go around it with this green once. Since this is a small quilt, I'm just going to do a 2.5 inch of that green first, and then I'll do my yellow. So I need, let me count how many strips I need real quick. 1, 2, 3.5 strips. I'm just going to go ahead and cut 4 2.5 inch strips off of here. So I've used 1 yard, well, almost 3/4 of a yard-ish for my outside pieces, the 5 inch squares that I added, and the first border from this fabric. So it's about 3/4 of a yard so far because it's 2. That's 16 plus 5 plus 4, 2.5 would be here. So more than 3/4 of a yard. So a yard will work for this fabric, and then a yard for your border fabric, your second border. And a strip. All right. That's fully cut. We're going to go ahead now and just take the selvages off. And sew 2 sides on, and then we'll put the top and bottom on. I'm going to go ahead and start with one side. Then I'll do the other side. Then I'll do the top and bottom. And it's a nice straight of grain, so everything should be perfect. You can put the camera back this way, please.
Wait, let me get it.
No, because I have to do these borders. All right, so I'm just sewing my border strip on because I'm trying to make this little quilt just a little bit bigger. I don't want it enormous, but I don't want it too tiny. I want it perfect child size.
This isn't considered grunge fabric.
No, this is not grunge. But it does have a little bit of color changing in it. It's not all one solid color. It's a variegated color. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, flip this up. I always do my borders like this. I'm really lazy about cutting things to size. Just gonna cut it to size this way because nothing was stretched or pulled. Okay, I'm gonna cut the selvages off of another piece. And put that on the opposite side. And then we'll do the top and the bottom. After I press it. The cool part, I want to say this real quick because I've done on point quilt. The cool part about having the 1/2 inch right here hanging off is when you put binding and you're like me and wrap your binding from the back to the front, you don't lose any point. So if this was a block here, you're not going to cover your block at all. You will have every single point still visible with your binding wrapped around it. So that's a plus if you don't add borders on your quilt, is when you go to bind it, you won't lose anything. It'll be perfect. Just thought I'd say that out loud because I've done a few that I did not add any borders to that were on point, and my binding was perfect against it. I had every single point, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to do this every time. And that's when I started just always doing it like this. My own numbers works out perfect. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press these borders back and then add the top and bottom. And then we'll cut the next border, which I'll probably do 3.5 inches because this one's 2.5. So no, let's do 4 inch. Yeah, we'll do 4 inch. I think that'll be fine. All right, go ahead and add. Let's cut the selvage off of this and this. Just do both of them that way. It's already done. Out of the way. Attach one. Top of it, say you. Oh, come on. Other side. I have one of my head hairs like hanging from my shirt or something, and it's tickling my underarm. It's kind of funny. All right. Top of itself.
Maybe it's an armpit hair. Maybe start combing your arms.
Nope.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to press these and we'll cut the next border and attach it.
That was funny. You needed a laugh.
I've been laughing at myself this whole time because it's tickling my armpit. Problem with having long hair.
It's beautiful.
All right, I'm just gonna leave the quilt right there so we can cut these. What did I say I wanted to do? Let's do 4. I'm gonna do 4.5 inches because I think that would be better. All right, this fabric is totally not square right here. Hold on 2 seconds. That was weird. It had a crease in it that was driving me nuts. I'm gonna straighten this side back out again. All right, here we go. 4.5 inches. That'll be perfect because then it'll be like toddler size. You can make your borders however you want for your quilts. 2. I just need 4, I think. 3, 4, yeah. 3. Nope, I need 5. If I'm doing 4.5 inches. 4, and you know what? Technically, we can make this even funner by grabbing 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, and turning these, and we'll have cornerstones at the end, only because I'm trying to use these little pieces up that we've already cut. So check this out. We're going to turn these into 4.5 inch squares, and this will be fun. There. Utilizing my scraps already. So we need those 4. I'm going to cut these selvages off. I'm not even going to measure either. 3 and number 4. Let's see how big that salvage is. All right, those can go there, that can go behind me. We're going to grab this quilt. We're going to put the sides on. You're going to love how I do this. I know. All right.
Are you using a new thread spool?
Nope, it's not a new thread spool. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just whatever it is. All right, so I'm going to sew this on. I did not measure anything to size. Oh, wow. That was like perfect. Look at that. It lands exactly at the end.
Awesome.
So that means I'm going to need a little bit more for that other one because that side. Hold on, we're going to see real quick just to make sure. Pass that out. Oh, that'll be perfect. Okay. Just making sure. So I sewed one side on. This is so much fun. Take this piece right here, my cornerstone. I'm going to attach it to the end right here. I'm going to finger press it towards my yellow. I'm going to put it right sides together on this end. Look, this is the no math way to do things. My cornerstone is now on this edge. Just going to line it up. Have my seam nested. Now I'm just going to sew along this edge till the end.
We like that no math way.
I love doing everything the no math way.
No math.
Technically, this whole thing is done without any math. You're just measuring, you know.
What size is your last quarter?
What size is what?
Your last quarter.
4.5 inches. All right. I'm going to come right here to the end. I'm going to cut it off as I always do. I'm going to fold it on top of itself. Cut this excess off. Nice and straight. So off the edge. Here's what's fun again. This is going to get finger pressed out. Grab another border. I'm going to go ahead and attach my 4.5 inch square to the end, just like this. You guys are learning way too many of my tips and tricks. Now I'm going to attach this, nesting that seam, and put it on this side.
You know everything.
Yeah, you know everything. And this will land. Ooh, it's just shy. So what we're going to do is take this end right here. We're making it longer. We're going to put this on here. I hate having a seam at the edge, so we're going to unedge it by putting it down a little bit. Just a little. I don't like seams at the edge. Drives me nuts. All right, nobody's even going to know. Oh, that lined up right here. That's good. All right. So instead of doing the side borders and then the top and bottom, I'm literally just going one side at a time. Nest that seam. Sew down this edge. My no fuss way of doing things. All right. Go ahead, fold this back. Cut that off, sew off the edge of it. Press it back. This. Grab my last and final strip here. Put on a cornerstone or corner of the quilt. Press again towards the yellow because I'm pressing the whole border out. I'm going to put this on here. We're going to just get that to stay. Nest this seam up. I'm going to stop about 10 inches before the end. So I'm going to literally stop about right there. I'm going to break the thread. I'm going to take this last piece because we need this last cornerstone to be on here. I'm going to fold it like I usually do to cut it, except I'm going to line it up with this seam right here. So I'm going to come right here and line it up. It is literally a 1/4 inch away, just like this. I'll line that up, fold it on top of itself, and then make my cut. So now it's a 1/4 inch longer than the edge right here. Since I left a tail, I'm going to lay this right sides together with my little cornerstone right here. And now I'm going to finger press this towards the yellow. Now I can continue that seam, and my edge right here will nest right up. This is the no measurement way of doing cornerstones on your borders. I mean, who needs to do math? Because I don't want to do math, and I know you don't want to do math. So, and there it is. It lines right up. So let me press this, and our little quilt is done. Well, it's a lot bigger than it was supposed to be, so that's good. All right, I'm just going to get this nicely pressed. All four sides. Two more sides left to press. If you guys go back to one of my what video would it be? Got to think about this. It's an on-point quilt that I did. I think it's the Strings of Illusion. I actually show you this border method right up in personal with a what kind of border is it called again? There's a word for it. Hold on, I'm trying to seek a word in my brain. Piano key border. I'll show you how to do the ends, just like I just did on those borders, but with a piano key border, which is the same concept.
How long have you been making quilts?
I've been making quilts for 8 years. Well, probably a little bit more than 8 years now, but smooth that out so that it doesn't fall off the wall, and give you guys a measurement. Can I have the measuring tape, please?
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
And then you can put the camera back where it sees the quilt on the wall. All right. Oop, oop, stay. My quilt has turned out 44 by 51. Yeah, 44 by 51. So there we have it.
What's a good size for a toddler quilt?
A good size for a toddler quilt is this right here, 44-51. That's perfect. That way they can drag it around. They can put it on their toddler beds. Well, some toddlers are already in twin beds. Mine were. But, you know, this is perfect. Look at that. I like it. Even though I think these two are too close to each other, but that's because I wasn't paying attention. Either way, I think it looks just fine. So in less than 2 hours, that was an hour and 45 minutes, you could make a quilt this size on point. And it gives it such a dramatic look. And then, as you can tell, even with those 1/2 inch here, it was already floating. But since I added the 2.5 inch border, the squares now are super floating. Like, it just looks amazing. And those cornerstones actually kind of framed it perfectly. Actually, that's a great idea. So have fun with these quilts. Make them your own, but you can take any block. It does not have to be just plain. If you have a bunch of 8-inch blocks that you made and they're all churn dash blocks or something that you really liked, but you didn't know what to do with them, try turning them on point. You just measure on your cutting table You know, put the point to point on one line on your cutting table, and then the next one, touch the 2 points and put it on a line. Count how many squares are in between the two, and that will give you your number for your side setting triangles. And then your corner, I always just measure the block. This was a 5-inch block. We cut 6-inch pieces. I think it made it a lot easier. And then you just trim it to size by going with your 1/2 inch. But these landed perfectly on the sides. I wouldn't have even had to trim those sides. So I could have done a 5 1/2 inch on my corner, or maybe even, you know, a 5 1/4 inch piece, and it would have still landed perfectly. So there it is. Now I just need to quilt it. What did I say it was again? 41 by, or 44 by?
It measures right here.
I forgot already. Mm-hmm.
44.
44 by 51, I think is what it was. Yeah, 44 by 50 1/2, technically.
Oh,
I wasn't reading.
I was pulling down.
Oh, it is 51. He was pulling down on the cut.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. So there it is. Yay! Any questions while I'm still here?
What's on the long arm?
What's on the long arm right now is what's on the long arm?
It's really colorful.
It's a really colorful quilt. I did it with Becca and Ian. We did I don't remember the name of the pattern at all for the life of me. But it's just slash marks. It was on Becca's channel on a Friday night live, and then it was on Ian's Sunday live. Yeah, and that's what I did on Sew Becca's channel and Off Kilter Crafter Ian's channel. They both have links if you want to find them here. Well, I don't have anything to add. This is very easy to make. Like I said, you can do any block. I will one more time, because you can kind of see right here. One more time. Your blocks, lay them down on a line on your cutting mat. Oops, that's not a square. This is a square. That's not a square. I cut some of these, you know, off the edges.
Continuum?
The continuum quilt. That's what's on the long arm. Yes, I knew there was a name for that quilt. I got the 2 tips together, both of these on a line. So any block, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches plus 1 inch. So that's 8 inch. So an 8-inch square, you cut it out and you cut it on the diagonal 2 times. Then your quarter setting triangles. Those are, like I said, up to you. I always just say this is a 5-inch square, so I cut a 6-inch piece, and I always trim it square, because that's just how I do things. So just remember, measure it. You can do any size block. If you have 12-inch blocks, whatever. You can do whatever size block you want, put it on point, and have a great quilt. So, no questions before I get off of here? So pretty. No? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get going then a few minutes early, because I'm done. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you had a wonderful breakfast and coffee and whatever else you have in the morning with me. And hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody. Bye.